So you have a great battle between Yehuda and Yosef, and this is going on throughout the history of the Jews, of where Yosef is really finding yourself in God, and Yehuda is losing yourself in God. And you have there's a law, there's a halacha that by Pesach, the matzah which you have at the Seder night. See, in your kitchen, the most likely thing to be chametz is your matzah. So why don't we just eat rice matzah or corn matzah? So the matzah has to be able to become chametz, but then didn't. Only that type of matzah you're able to be yotze on Pesach. So if you eat rice matzah, since rice can never become chametz, so then you can't be yotze with rice matzah for your mitzvah on Pesach. So you have to have the ability to become chametz, and only then can you be yotze. So the Yehuda, which is the bittul, which is the losing yourself in God, that it's not about me, is that if you can never become chametz, if you can never become something, if you can never find yourself in God, so then you losing yourself has no value. So you have somebody who knows nothing about Judaism, and he comes to yeshiva and says, put a hat on, and we'll take care of you. So he loses himself from day one, and then he never found himself. So who was he losing? He didn't lose anything. He never became the Godless door. So it's like you play music.
I do my best.
So if you have, you have the music that you're playing, you have the notes or whatever, and then sometimes you're just gonna just play whatever you feel like playing, whatever comes out of you. Now, if you don't know how to play an instrument and you start doing whatever I just feel comes out, it's gonna sound terrible. But if you're the expert, if you're the Jimmy Page, and then you're just like whatever it feels, so then you can really reach the heights. But you have to become the expert first to lose yourself. You got to learn the trade, and then you can lose yourself. And then what comes out of losing yourself is amazing. But if you lose yourself without learning the trade, then it's just crap. So you have what the bad form of Yehuda is abuse. You have just bittle yourself. Just do what I tell you, and you'll be okay.
The bad form of Yehuda is just abuse?
Yeah. So the guy comes in and just do what I tell you. You don't exist, you don't count, you don't matter, just do what everyone else is doing. And then you have the the whole everyone's looking the same, everyone's doing the same, and you'll be taken care of. Now, everybody wants to be accepted, and everybody wants to be accepted for themselves, for who they are. And it's a lot easier to be accepted not for yourself. Just do what everyone else is doing. And while that's good, now, see, in a marriage, you can only be accepted for who you are in the point of disagreement. If let's say you're dating and you say, oh, well, I like Trump, and she said, well, I like Trump too. So then you just accept it, but not for you. Now, if she likes Biden, and then she can still accept you for liking Trump, so now you're accepted for who you are. So when you agree on something, so then there's no acceptance of you. There's just acceptance. So you're allowed in here because that's what you do.
So is this idea of when it comes to relationships of, oh, we don't have anything in common, is that actually a good thing?
Well, it depends what you do with that. I mean, anything in itself, anything in isolation is not good or bad. It's what do you do with it. So you can fight all the time, or you can build together. But if you just agree on everything, then then it's just myself. I like you because you think and act the same as me. So I like me.
Right.
So it's only when you're different to me, so then things will actually, it can actually be a relationship there. It's like, well, I really don't like what you're doing. Now I have a choice. What am I going to do with this? I can accept you, I can help you, I can shout at you, whatever it is. So it's when you come against me, so that's where, the relationship is set. And it's not pleasurable when you're against me. So if I'm just looking for pleasure, so, I'm out of here. I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. It's not a relationship. I don't want to be in this, pleasure-seeking ride anymore.
Well, so what would you, what would then be your advice to people of how to start building a relationship with God?
So especially the Americans, the American society is very transactional.
You're just beating on Americans right now.
And I think step number one is to realize how so much of your life is transactional. And relationships are not transactional. Transactional is what you can do for me. What have you done for me lately? And identifying the transactions in your life is the first. Now, there's a lot of people like to think that there's like a compartmentability between my life and my relationship with God, and that they're two separate things. But the mashal is the nimshal, that your relationship with your friend, that your relationship with the cashier at the supermarket is your relationship with God. Your relationship with your chavrusa, your relationship with the bus driver, your relationship with your wife. These are all different aspects of relationship with God. It's not that and then when I daven, then I have a different relationship. No, it's the same thing. This is your relationship.
But how do you move from transactional to what would even the word be that you would use? Non-transactional. Okay. Well, I was like, maybe there's another word.
There is.
For it.
So there's a I was reading this Lucifer book, and there's a I don't know if my wife is ever going to watch this, but she'd be like, yeah, I know the word, because we were speaking about the word. I don't know what the word is. There's a
we can find the word and we'll put it as a tag in the bottom. This was the word he was thinking.
There's a Latin word which in this Lucifer book is talking about that, where how basically Luciferian characters are just looking for what they can get out of people. And then the opposite of that word is also brought in the in the notes in the end. It was a guy who did the Stanford test. You know about the Stanford test?
Mm-mm.
Where he made. People know a lot better than I do, so we're just skimming over it here. And if I'm getting anything wrong, it's okay. He did
appreciate the clarification.
He did the test in Stanford, where basically he got a bunch of guys being pretend prisoners and a bunch of guys being pretend prison officers.
Oh, I do know this.
And within 3 days, the officers beating the crap out of the prisoners. And then a lot of people are upset about how he did it, whatever. But that's basically the headline. It's good, it's not good, it's done bad, whatever. But he wrote this book. And so there's this idea that the Lucifer character who's a devil. It's very interesting. I didn't know the story about Lucifer, that he was holding up the light for God or something. Like, so God's upstairs and Lucifer's holding the light for him. So they're there together, and then Lucifer's like, "Why am I holding the light up for you? I should be sitting beside you or above you, whatever." And God's like, "Hey, get out of here. If that's gonna be your attitude, get the hell out of here." And he sends him down. So he says it's better to be, the king of hell rather than to be a servant in heaven, and that's a lot of people's lives. I think that idea, again, the mashal is the nimshal. Like, what are you doing with whatever your life is? You're either living, you're the king of hell, or you're the servant in heaven. And what you really want, especially how Judaism is taught, it really seems a lot better to be the king of hell than a servant in Shemayim, because that is the picture in which they're painting. And I know this guy who was saying that. He was in this really from yeshiva in France, and every day the Rosh Yeshiva will come and tell him, you're going to go to hell for that. You're going to go to Gehenna for that. You're going to go to Gehenna for that. And then one day it's like, well, F it then. If I'm going to go to Gehenna, I may as well enjoy myself.
Yeah.
And again, it's nothing to do with God. It's nothing to do with it. It's just like, you're a bad person and you're going to get punished. It's like, well, what do you want? Well, yeah, okay, so I'll go to Gehenna. I may as well be the king of Gehenna, because what am I going to do? What am I going to do? In Shemayim. Just I'm going to be there. Everyone who I hate is going to be there. All these abusive rabbis are going to be there. And what the hell am I going to be there for? So, let's burn heaven, and let's go and have a party in hell.